Don't you dare call the police. We are going to raise this child ourselves. Huh? I was shocked by what Jack said and felt uneasy because something seemed off about him. I pretended to agree with Jack's idea for the time being, but I was thinking about something else. And then I took a certain action. My name is Lily Sullivan. I used to be a model, but now I am a full-time housewife. I am married and live with my husband, Jack. By the way, we do not have any children. Thank you very much. Jack waved goodbye to the moving company's worker. The building surrounding us was unmistakably an apartment complex. Jack gave me a big smile and said, "From today, this apartment is our new home, Lily. The movers have brought our stuff, so let's start unpacking." Yes, sure. Jack went into the room we would be living in with great enthusiasm. Our apartment is on the first floor and has a small garden. Moreover, the interior of the apartments these days is nicely designed and it feels pretty good. Also, the rent is cheap, and there are supermarkets, convenience stores, and parks nearby. By the way, one of my hobbies is walking. Walking allows me to feel the changing seasons. It's a form of exercise, and it helps me clear my mind. That's why I like walking. Besides, the park near the apartment is very spacious, making it an ideal environment for walking. To be honest, there's nothing to complain about. I'm glad we moved here. There is a reason why Jack and I moved to this apartment. We believe that we can't rely on a pension in the future, so we decided to move here to save money for our old age. We also plan to live here when we get old, so we intentionally chose a first-floor apartment. Climbing stairs would be difficult when we get old, and I wanted to have an organic vegetable garden, so this first-floor apartment with a garden was very beneficial for us. However, the delay in our move was due to my work. To make a long story short, I quit modeling in my 40s. I was still needed in the industry, but I thought there was no point in continuing as a model since I was already in my 40s, so I decided to quit. However, it took some time to quit, which delayed our move. For the record, I have been a model for fashion magazines since my teens and had a decent career. However, unlike recent models, I did not appear in dramas or variety shows, and even when my manager begged me, I refused. Somehow I felt that it was wrong for a model to act like an actress or a celebrity. In other words, I had a strong desire to only do modeling work. Also, I was a former gang member during my school days, and I was worried that if I appeared on TV, my past would be exposed. I was highly valued by brands that specialized in innocent or conservative fashion. So if it was revealed that I was a former gang member, there was a risk that I would lose my job. In the entertainment industry, the image that the public has of you is very important. Therefore, I had developed a habit of hiding my past as a former gang member. Moreover, Jack does not know that I was a former gang member. He probably misunderstands and thinks of me as a pure and innocent woman. Of course, the success of making him misunderstand was due to my relentless effort. I always behaved and dressed like a lady, wore light makeup, and rarely went without makeup. All of this was to avoid disappointing Jack, and because I couldn't fulfill his wish. These actions were my way of making amends to him. To put it simply, I couldn't have children. Jack wanted a child with me, but I was worried that getting pregnant would create a gap in my work, and my body would no longer be usable as a model, so I did not have a child. Jack respected my decision, but the fact that I was making him endure it did not change. Honestly, it's a miracle he hasn't divorced me. I was reminiscing about the past and started to feel guilty towards Jack, so I took the trash that he was about to take out. I'll take out the trash. You must be tired from moving, so take it easy. Wait. I heard Jack calling after me, but I ran out energetically, reached the garbage disposal area, and threw away the trash. But near that garbage disposal area, a moving company's truck was parked. Has someone moved in? When I glanced at the moving truck, a beautiful woman got out of the seat. She seemed to be in her 20s. I was obviously staring at her, and our eyes met, and then she ran over to me. Hi, I'm Kate Grubb. I just moved in today. Are you a neighbor? Yes, I live on the first floor over there. Well, I also just moved in today. Really? What a coincidence. I also live on the first floor, but in a different building. She said that, pointed to her room and smiled. Shortly after, Jack came running over to me. Geez, You startled me by running out suddenly. Oh, who is this? This is Kate Grubb. She just moved in today like us. I'm Kate Grubb. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Oh, can I help you with your move? Really? Thank you. So Jack helped Kate with her move. As a token of appreciation for Kate and Jack, I decided to buy some treats from the convenience store and headed there with the moving company staff. To my surprise, I ran into my classmate from my student days, Natalie, at the store. Is that you, Lily? I exclaimed. Natalie. It's been a while. It was the first time I had seen Natalie since our coming-of-age ceremony. We had both aged and our fashion had changed, but we still resembled our past selves. Upon closer inspection, I noticed that Natalie's basket was filled with whiskey, snacks, and gum syrup. Her makeup and fashion were quite flashy. What are you doing for work now, Natalie? I asked. I run a bar nearby called Bar Natalie. You should come and visit, she replied, handing me a business card with the shop's name on it. I was happy about the unexpected reunion with my classmate and ended up buying too many treats from the convenience store. Later, I had a housewarming celebration with Jack and Kate in Kate's room, where we enjoyed the treats together. At that time, I thought everything was going well. However, a few weeks after moving, Jack made a comment that caught me off guard. Maybe you should put on heavier makeup, he said. Why asked? Well, there's a karaoke place nearby called Bar Natalie, and the bartender there, Natalie, wears heavy but beautiful makeup. So I thought maybe you should try wearing heavier makeup too. I was astonished by Jack's sudden comment and quite annoyed by it. Bars are dimly lit, so even if you wear heavy makeup, you still look beautiful, he continued. But I don't think it would look good in natural light. Oh, is that so? I replied, trying to hide my irritation. Sorry, forget what I just said. You're beautiful as you are, so stay that way. Saying that, Jack, perhaps feeling awkward, hurriedly went into his room. I was quite irritated by his comment. The reason I wore light makeup was precisely because Jack liked women with a neat and tidy appearance. If I had worn heavy makeup like Natalie when we first met, Jack probably wouldn't have given me a second glance. Moreover, one of the reasons I wear light makeup is to prevent people from finding out that I was a former gang member. So I make meticulous efforts every day to not shatter Jack's dream, but not only does he not notice my efforts, he even suggested I should wear heavier makeup, which completely crushed my pride and honestly irritated me. The next day, I took a taxi to a certain place. That place was a monthly rental storage unit. In fact, this storage unit contains my high school album. I go to all this trouble to ensure that Jack doesn't find out about my past, specifically that I was a former gang member. But sometimes I want to look at the album, so I go to the storage unit. However, when I arrived, I found that the lock on the storage unit was broken, and the album was missing. It was gone. It must have been stolen by someone. I was shocked and stood there frozen for a while. When I got home and told Natalie about it, she said something shocking. But since Natalie and I were friends, and considering the situation at the time, I thought it wouldn't be a big deal, so I kept quiet about it. About a year later, I was awakened by the sound of a baby crying. It was late at night, and it was dark outside, but I could definitely hear a baby crying from behind the door. When I opened the door, there was a baby left abandoned. I immediately took the baby in and called Jack, who was on a business trip, to inform him about the baby. The next day, Jack came home. Look, there was even a note saying, "Please take care of this child." I showed Jack the baby and the note. Then Jack said something unbelievable. "We must not call the police. We will raise this child." What? I was flabbergasted by Jack's statement and felt an uneasy premonition because Jack was acting strangely. I pretended to agree with Jack's idea for the time being, but I was thinking about something else. Then I took action. The day after Jack came back, I gathered information about the baby while holding it in my arms to somehow calm the anxiety in my chest. I expected it would take some time to figure out who and where this baby came from, but things became clear surprisingly quickly. I was able to obtain reliable information about the baby, and my anxiety was halved. However, at the same time as I obtained the information, my body was covered with an immense feeling of anger. The next day, Jack, the baby, and I were at home. Jack was at home because he had the day off from work. I was holding the baby as usual, but suddenly the baby started crying loudly, and while I was surprised, I tried to soothe it. While I was holding the baby and trying to soothe it with all my might, Jack kept staring at us. Honestly, it was quite uncomfortable to feel someone's gaze so intensely. Even when I showed a slightly displeased expression by lowering the corners of my mouth, Jack did not take his eyes off me and the baby. What kind of benefit is there in continuing to stare at us like that? Finally, I reached my limit of irritation with Jack, who continued to stare at us in silence, and I asked him, "Hey, why have you been staring at me and the baby for so long?" Then Jack smiled and said, "Well, I was just thinking that we really look like a family." What? I did not expect Jack to say something like that, so I inadvertently asked him again, "I mean, we really look like a family, don't we?" "You have gotten used to holding the baby, and you've gotten better at soothing it. I think we've reached a level where it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say we're a family." It's no good when Jack talks about the family. It just irritates me listening to him. If you ask me, I am in no way related to this baby, and I don't want him to arbitrarily make us a family in his imagination. Besides, on that day when the baby was left at the front door, I was thinking of reporting it to the police. However, Jack not only denied that thought, but also left me entirely in charge of taking care of the baby. So, if the baby starts crying, I am the one who has to act first because Jack doesn't feel like moving for the baby. He uses the excuse that he is tired from work, but excuses don't work when you're an adult. In fact, as an adult, you have to think creatively and take action. Jack is the one who initially wanted to raise the baby, so he should be actively participating in childcare. But he can't do that, and even today, he just keeps staring at me while I soothe the baby. And in the end, he even said, "It's like we're a family," and he is such a ridiculous person who rubs people the wrong way. I wish he would consider my feelings a little and act appropriately. Despite being in sales, why is Jack so bad at reading the situation? And while I was quietly getting irritated, Jack said this, "You know, I really wanted a kid. So right now I feel really fulfilled. Happiness might just be something like this." I was quite upset at Jack's remark, and I couldn't hold back my anger any longer. The only reason he feels happy is because I've been taking care of the baby for him. This man is just too clueless. Why have I been working so hard for him, trying to keep our marriage going? My heart was full of regret. Fearing that I would lash out at Jack, I said, "I just remembered something I need to do, so I'm going to go. The baby seems to have stopped crying, so take care." "Wait, where are you going?" Jack asked as I handed the baby to him and dashed outside. I headed for Kate's room and rang the doorbell. Kate came out and said, "Oh, isn't it Lily? What's the matter?" I replied, "I was just wondering how you've been lately, and I wanted to talk to you, Kate." She said, "I was thinking the same thing. It's a bit awkward to talk standing up, so please come in." "Thank you, Kate," I said as I entered her house. Honestly, it had been quite a while since I had seen or talked to Kate. "It's been a while since we've met, hasn't it?" "About half a year?" "Yes, it has," she replied. "I rang the doorbell a few times and you didn't answer, so I was wondering how you were doing." "Ah, I had actually gone back to my parents' house," Kate said. "Oh, really? Why?" I asked. "Why do you ask?" "It's none of your business," she replied defensively. "I'll guess. You got pregnant, right?" When I said that, Kate fell silent, as if I had hit the nail on the head. "But you couldn't expect any support from your parents. So you reluctantly came home and then you went to my husband, the father of the child, for help, right?" "How do you know all that?" "Well, to put it simply, my husband, when he drinks, tends to spill the beans about everything at the drinking table. My friend Natalie happened to be at that drinking table and heard Jack talking about you. Apparently, Jack revealed everything about you at that time. So Natalie told me everything. Don't underestimate the power of the women's network. By the way, your stomach has gotten a lot smaller. Where did the baby go? Why do you ask such a mean question when you already know? You are the mean one, leaving your baby at my doorstep where I live with my children. It's not something a human should do. Thanks to you, I now have to raise your baby with Jack." Well, Jack leaves all the childcare to me and acts annoyingly paternal. It's a lie. Jack is not that kind of person. You are being deceived. Well, Jack has a good public image, and he helped you move, so it's no wonder you are mistaken. But the real Jack is not a great person. Are you subtly bragging to me? Are you trying to say that you are happy to raise my baby as a substitute and that you are married to Jack? Of course not. I want to stop raising your baby. The reason I came here today is to ask why you left the baby at my doorstep. Pete, we're friends, right? Well, if you don't tell me, I'll report you to the police. What will you do? When I said that, Kate glared at me and was silent for a while. But I stared back without backing down, and Kate seemed to surrender and started talking about the reason she abandoned the baby. On the day Jack helped me move, we exchanged contact information. As we gradually communicated, I fell for Jack's personality, and before I knew it, we were in a relationship. Eventually, I became pregnant with Jack's baby, but he asked me to get an abortion. Moreover, he said he would not pay for the procedure. At that time, I was job hunting and had no savings. So, as a last resort, I went to my estranged parents' house and begged them for money, but it was no use. As time went by, I had no choice but to give birth to the baby. But I knew that just leaving the baby at an orphanage wouldn't ease my resentment. Besides, I thought that if Jack saw the baby's face, he might change his mind and come to me. So I left the baby at your doorstep. That's the whole story. When Kate finished talking, she broke down in tears. But I showed understanding and comforted her. No mercy was shown to her. So, basically, you're just an idiot who can't plan ahead. Honestly, I feel sorry for the baby being born into this mess. I can somewhat understand why Jack doesn't want to remarry you. There's no happy future in marrying a clueless idiot. In that sense, Jack is smarter than you. But Jack is dumber than me. So, basically you were just used by someone slightly smarter than an idiot. It's a shame, really. From Jack's perspective, you're just a tool. A tool can't become a wife, you know? That's harsh. We won't know unless we ask Jack. I won't accept that he thinks of me as a tool. Oh, you really are stupid. Just as Kate and I were having a heated exchange, the doorbell rang at the perfect time. When Kate opened the door, there was Jack holding a baby. I wondered what he wanted as I stared at Jack with cold eyes. But for some reason, Kate hugged Jack. Jack, you came to pick me up with the baby. You must really love me, don't you? Gah. The one I love is Lily. I came here to pick up Lily. Don't get it twisted, you stupid woman. Saying that, Jack pushed Kate away and headed towards me. Lily, let's go home. It's pointless to deal with this woman. Indeed, Kate might be so incompetent as to leave a baby at someone's doorstep, but that action was prompted by feelings of wanting to get your attention, right? Well, there is no doubt that Kate is a hopeless thinker, but I also think that you are a hopeless person. Honestly, I don't even want to breathe the same air as you. So in other words, I think you and Kate are a perfect match. The baby you are holding now has half of your and Kate's genes, right? So if you and Kate raise this baby, you can have a real family. It would be a huge loss to miss such a big opportunity, don't you think? Hearing my words, Jack desperately spat out nasty words. That's not it. I just lost my mind for a moment. I don't love Kate. The only one I love is Lily. Please believe me. Disgusting. There's no way I can believe that. You will never understand the humiliation and sadness I felt having to take care of the baby you and Kate created. Even if it was just for a few days. And yet, you treat Kate like a tool, claim there's no love, but show affection towards the baby she gave birth to. You're the worst. What part of such a despicable man should I believe? Stop making a fool out of me. After being berated by me, Jack, realizing he couldn't control me, vented his frustration with these words. With these words, shut up, you former gangster. I heard from Natalie that you were a delinquent in your school days, right? And what's with that light makeup? Are you trying to act like a pure innocent model and deceive me? You're nothing but a scam artist. You tricked and made a fool out of me, didn't you? You're not one to talk. Actually, Natalie accidentally mentioned my school days when Jack, unaware that he was my husband, came to the snack bar for karaoke. But since Jack was drinking at the time, Natalie and I thought he would be too drunk to remember. Apparently, Jack has a good memory. Really, what a troublesome man. Yes, indeed, I hid from you that I used to be a gangster. But I had no choice. All the jobs that came my way were for being prim and proper, and back then I wanted you to like me. And it was a time when I had to pretend to be demure, so it couldn't be helped. You're just too lenient with yourself. Really, I'm so pitiable being deceived by a woman like you. The moment Jack said that, the intercom rang vigorously several times. I opened the door as if to say I wanted to see you quickly, and there stood Natalie. I heard everything. You guys, the window was open, so the conversation went straight outside. Well, it saved me the trouble of explaining, though. I had already sent a request for help to Natalie by text before arriving at Kate's house. I thought she was a bit late, but it seemed that Natalie had been standing by in front of the door all along. How kind of Natalie? Thank you for coming. Who? This person? Natalie, you not only cheated and had a child, but you also stole Lily's album. You're the lowest scum. You should be grateful that a man of your level could date Lily. You idiot. Natalie delivered a satisfying rebuke, just like in her student days. It was a moment when my heart felt refreshed. However, Jack unexpectedly said this to Natalie and me. Shut up, you gangsters. No matter how much you try to act like adults, in the end, both Lily and you are nothing but gangsters. Don't talk like you understand anything, you gangsters. Natalie, quite pissed off by Jack's unexpected words, crushed an empty can on the table with one hand and said this to Jack. I have a lot of juniors who are good at fighting. If I team up with them, I'm sure one day you'll be more miserably crushed than this empty can. If you don't want to make me angrier, apologize to Lily and that woman you cheated with. Then, Kate and Jack, perhaps not wanting to suffer anymore, readily apologized to me. After that, it was decided that Jack and I would get divorced. I said this to Jack, who was looking down discontentedly. Now that you're single again, why don't you remarry Kate and raise that baby together? You've always had your own child, haven't you? I don't want to. Who would want to live with such a stupid woman? I wanted to live with you, Lily, and I wanted to raise that baby with you. Jack was just spewing out selfish words like a child. And it seems that Jack had been suspicious of me going out somewhere from time to time and had been secretly following me. So, Jack found out that I was hiding an album in a warehouse and stole the album because he wanted to know what was inside. Really, what a guy. I felt like I would become useless if I stayed with someone like him, so I quickly gathered my things and left the apartment. When all was said and done, Jack wanted to be with someone as smart as me, with a title like a model, and it seemed like he only saw Kate as someone to hang out with. Given Kate's financial situation, it was clear she couldn't afford to raise the baby, so the baby was placed in an orphanage. It's sad to think that, as always, the vulnerable and children are the ones caught up in the mess of adult affairs. As for me, I started living on my own after I finalized my divorce with Jack, but as life goes on, living costs money. However, the only work experience I have is as a model, and there probably aren't many companies that would want to hire someone my age. So, after giving it a lot of thought, I decided to go back to modeling. But it wasn't like before. No magazine covers or fashion shows. Specifically, I was doing bridal modeling and catalog modeling. However, maybe because modeling is a small industry, the photographer who took my bridal photos turned out to be friends with a magazine editor I used to work with. Thanks to that photographer pulling some strings for me, I'm going to start modeling for a magazine again next month. Lots will probably happen in the future, but I'm not going to give up. I want to keep pushing forward.